Hello, welcome to another episode of Cranial Diarrhea. I'm Tiff.
I'm Bottoms.
I'm
Itchy
Shannon.
Bottoms.
This
It was funny.
is the shit I put up with
Itchy
every
Bottoms.
week.
Itchy bottoms.
Itchy Bottoms.
Hey, if the ghost of the blue, whatever her name was, I can't remember now, the blue moss lady, if she was here, she could slap my bottom and it wouldn't itch no more.
Again, someone needs a little more attention.
Call me.
So, oh my god. Blech. So, you may have noticed that we are I almost said threesome. That's
Wow.
awful.
That would be bad.
Awful. There are 3 people here today, and you can
Yes.
obviously tell that we are all related because we all look
You
alike.
think? hey, did you notice somebody's got gray hair?
At least I have hair.
Ooh, yeah.
The ladies like it smooth.
Ew. Anywho,
All right. So go ahead with your introduction. I'm sorry, I won't disturb anymore.
this is a special guest this week. We've got Shannon. She's my cousin, obviously Dad's niece, and she's here to talk about. She's done some investigations, and she's here to talk to us about that. So I'm really excited about that. So we're gonna go through our states, and then we'll kick it over to her. And
And she's going to jump in during the states, too.
yeah, absolutely. No, she's just gonna sit here.
She's going to sit there
Awkwardly.
like a deaf leopard.
And smile.
Like she can't hear
This
like
is
a
awkwardly.
deaf leopard. Oh, checking your text messages again? Mm-hmm. And was it important?
No.
Let me say, someone is going on vacation, so we're having to do this a day early.
2 days early.
Yeah, 2 days early because they're going on vacation. So, anytime she gives me crap about not prepping for a show,
Oh wait,
At least I'm not going on vacation.
Whoa, hang on. So I am going on vacation, but I did prep, and I prepped super hard. I literally took screenshots of the computer. That's a lie. I did, but I prepped, and so next week when I'm on vacation, I'm also gonna prep for next week's show.
I'm not.
Unlike somebody who waits till the last day and calls me and goes, "What states did I have?" Yeah, 100%. That was him.
But I got them.
Anyway.
You want to jump in?
Yes, I want to do
All right,
that.
let's jump in.
You
First
have-
off, I want to revisit Fatty Walsh. If I'm ranking, so far we got 2 that I would rank. The lady of the blue Miss Moss, whatever, she'd be first because she slaps you on the butt. But Fatty Moss is second because any ghost that steals a lampshade and wears it on
Fatty
his head,
Walsh.
that's pretty funny.
He didn't.
The
That's
words
not.
was what?
Absolutely not what I said.
He steals a lampshade,
But he
right?
doesn't wear it on his
Oh, I
head.
bet he does. He's a party animal. Me and Fatty go way back. He's a party animal.
You go way back.
He's a party animal. He'll
Friends.
slap your butt too if he has too much to drink. He always asks, "Did you touch my bum?"
Okay.
All right, so let's jump right in.
You have Kentucky. Let's hear
I
about
do
Kentucky.
have Kentucky.
I got
Let me
hair
tell
all
you
in my
about
face.
John Brown.
John Brown.
John Brown was the first senator in Kentucky, and he built Liberty Hall. That was his house, right? So, in this place, there's been a lot of people die. Why does people got to die for there to be a ghost?
That's how it kind of works.
I just always wondered that. You ever thought about that, daughter? But anyway,
Unless they're having out of body experiences,
every
all
one of these
ghosts are dead.
things, every one of these things we go through, somebody died.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, can't there be a ghost without somebody dying? Let's look at the bright side.
What
of
is
life.
that called? Astral
Astro
projection?
projection.
Yes,
Yes.
astral projection.
Yeah.
Did you call me an asshole?
I did call. Yes, that's what I said. I said you're an asshole. That's exactly what I said.
So anyway, so it's asshole projection. We can all do that. We can make good sounds if we eat a lot of beans.
Oh my god.
All right. So anyway, one of the ghosts there is called Mrs. Margaret Varick, but they call her AKA the Gray Lady. She came there
It sounds really familiar.
She came there for a funeral. Yeah, that's what I thought when I was reading. I was like, I think I've heard something about this. But she came there for a funeral, and evidently she had a heart attack and died in the house. And they buried her.
They're like 2 for 1.
2 for 1 sale. But they buried her, and then somebody got the bright idea of, hey, let's move her. So now she's like a restless ghost that goes through and like...
Okay. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're
Finish
good.
your sentence.
But she's like a restless ghost, and she goes through, and they're like... They think she's like mimicking like cleaning or something? Because she's always opening and shutting doors and moving things and opening windows.
Okay.
She hadn't hit anybody on the butt yet or got a lampshade.
I completely lost where I was going because
See, you
you
should've
went in a
went
whole
first.
other direction.
You should have went first.
Okay, wait, no, I got it back.
Her body was originally moved.
Her body was moved, so
So they
that's
dug
a
her up.
red flag.
Yeah.
That's a
and moved
very
her.
big red flag for a restless
Okay,
spirit.
that is a red flag. Okay, yeah.
But red flag in NASCAR means stop.
Yeah, totally different. You never want to disturb somebody's bones.
No,
So,
that's like a big no-no.
so what does that do?
So it causes like unrest and like it agitates the.
So where did they move her to?
Yeah,
Well, they moved her to another location on the same property.
same
That's why
property.
she's still there.
but they still moved her.
Still
But-
moved her.
Doesn't your spirit like leave you? So how would the ghost be there?
Not if you're trapped there.
A
right?
lot of people think that sometimes you're attached to where your skeleton remains are, and you can only go so far from them. So,
So if I'm buried in Murfreesboro, they got to make sure there's a crystal within like a couple
like
of
5
miles.
miles or so.
So make sure of that. I've never heard that before.
No,
Why
I
am
don't-
I taking care of you?
I don't know.
When did that happen?
Because your daughter.
We're gonna have to have a discussion
so-
about that.
But in all seriousness, so because you would think the spirit goes and you're in heaven or the other place if you're not so nice.
I
A lot
There-
of people think like you have unfinished business is why spirits stay around.
yeah.
You know, whether they have family members they want to look over, or they were murdered and they want justice. You know,
Yeah.
there's
So-
all different reasons why a spirit would stay.
So this spirit's been around since like the 1800s. Don't you realize there ain't gonna be no justice by now?
It may not be that. It may just be she's taking care of her house. You know,
Maybe she just didn't want to leave.
I could see Nanny doing that.
If I
Staying with the house.
You'll know how to you know how you can tell it's me if you come to my house after I die and something's messing with you. I'll have a can of pledge. I love the smell of pledge. I don't know why. But that's
I
pretty.
hope you don't come back and haunt anybody.
But that's pretty cool, though. I mean, because for it to be there so long, that's the thing that kind of interested me. Is it would you would think, But I mean, sometimes I wonder. It's kind of like them shows you watch. Did you hear that? No, I didn't hear anything.
Yeah.
I feel
So-
like a lot of those shows are.
Over
I don't-
dramatized.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't
I
want to
think
say
so.
scripted. Over dramatized is a good phrase.
But they have
for
to do that to get views.
Right.
True.
Get a-
Right. If
True.
if nothing happens, like no one's gonna.
Nobody's gonna
We
watch
should
it.
be over
Yeah.
dramatic. She's in
He already is.
Kentucky,
So dramatic.
and she opens the door.
Okay. Louisiana.
Well,
Move
before we
on.
go off Kentucky, I just wanted to mention
Yeah.
Kentucky has Octagon Hall, which is considered one of the most paranormal places in the South.
How come I didn't find that?
Because I've been planning a trip to go there, so that's why I know about
cool.
it.
Okay.
Oh.
Cool.
So there's been like over 250 different paranormal teams that have been there and investigated.
Investigated. The
Supposedly, it's the Caldwell family was the original owners, and their slaves, Union and Confederate soldiers died there. There was battles around there, and supposedly the investigations get a ton of
Wow.
information. from
And
them.
you're gonna go there. We should do a live thing, or we should go.
Y'all should totally go.
Okay. Here's my issue. Okay, not even an issue, just like a fear, I guess. I hardcore believe in all this stuff, right? I am terrified to go to one of these places and something like
Attach.
yes, and like now all of a sudden I've got like a demon just chilling in my house.
I will say the group I go with, we're all girls, and before we go into any place, we do a prayer
Okay.
for safety, and then when we leave, before we get in the car to drive away, we do a cleansing prayer. So everything stays there that's there, nothing comes home with us. So,
Except the lumps in my drawers. If I say something.
That's the other thing. I like crap myself in front of all these
I
people.
probably would.
I hear a noise. I'm like, oh
Could you
no.
imagine
Should have worn
going
my
in-
brown pants.
Could you imagine going into one of those and like having 8 crystals beforehand and like
Oh,
the
God.
crystal?
First of all, I would say eat lightly.
I would say probably don't eat. Yeah.
we usually hit like the IHOP afterwards.
That's right.
You're in the bathroom and you're doing your business and you hear something, nobody in there, and you hear something go, my God, courtesy flush, please.
Oh my god.
So that's cool. So there's other 250 different paranormal teens, and all of them have had experiences.
Almost all of them, as far as I know.
Oh, that's
I don't
cool.
know all 250, but the ones I've read up on, I've heard voices, have seen full body apparitions, I've heard like knocking and walking and all kinds of crazy things.
Wow.
I don't know how I'd react in that situation.
I do.
We like ghost
Peace out.
adventures. Bro! Dude!
I will say the first experience I ever had, we went towards it instead of away from it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
See, that's what I would do. I would want to see. I would want to know because
Yeah, I'd be
to
like,
me,
I'll be in the car.
Well, we thought it was a real person at first, so we went towards it thinking they
to
needed
me,
help.
to me, it would be like, okay, yeah, let's
Me
find
and
out
one
what's
other
going on.
person, I'm like, sorry.
Like, you better run faster than me.
All I got to be is faster than one person, and I'm out.
Daisy.
So what state you have first? Louisiana.
Oh, geez. Yeah.
That's a cool one.
Yes.
You
I
need to start
agree.
researching and give me the research.
I told you about the catawampus,
That's cheating.
or the wampus cat.
Cheating. Okay. So I have Louisiana.
That was a plate of food. That looked good.
I'm on a diet with my sister-in-law, and we send each other what we eat to keep each other
That looks really good.
accountable.
Now I'm
Yeah.
hungry.
It's beef and broccoli. Anyway,
Oh, you're gonna have the foods later.
that was like 2 days ago.
Oh, you're gonna have them now then.
So I have Louisiana, and so I did mine on the Myrtle Plantation.
Oh, good one.
Yes.
Yes.
It's in St. Francisville, Louisiana. It is considered one of the most haunted places in America, according to my research. Okay. The land that the house sits on was actually inhabited by local Native Americans, and they used the land as a sacred burial ground. Red flag. we're gonna see a lot of those in these stories. Red flag.
That means stop.
That's where I stopped writing and went to
Especially
my
when you
phone.
mess with Native American bones.
Yes, it's one thing to build on like a cemetery, like we've all seen Poltergeist, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the girl gets at the TV. I'll be like, see
A
ya.
sacred burial ground is like 10 times,
But don't-
like 100 times.
But doesn't that culture, the American Indian culture, don't they do like some kind of ritual on the burial ground before they bury their people?
I've heard that they will put some kind of prayer or something that if it's disturbed, that person is cursed. How true that is, I don't know. I haven't really done much research, but I've heard that.
So there was this couple that owned the house, and there was a slave who was apparently supposedly having an affair. That's pretty common, actually.
Especially back then. And it wasn't so
Yeah.
much an affair as she was forced.
Right. Well, yeah. Full transparency, I didn't read this before
Really? Full transparency, there's no such thing as a deaf leopard.
Yes, there is.
No. There's leopards that can't hear.
Deaf leopard.
So she was accused of eavesdropping on a conversation with the master of the house, or from the master of the house, whatever. And she had her ear chopped off.
Oh,
Yeah, that was, yeah.
it's pretty bad.
So she hatched a plan to save her current status, which was like cook and clean, inside the house, not in the fields. She
Yeah,
gathered
it'd be
some.
hard to cook in the field.
She gathered some leaves from an oleander plant and boiled them in water. This would create an arsenic-like liquid. Sorry. She planned to pour in the batter
that
for
pan
a
off.
birthday cake she was making for one of the children of the house.
Oh.
It's widely believed that her intention was not murder, but instead just to make the girls and their mother sick so she could nurse them back to health. That would make the family grateful, and she would be able to stay.
Cement her place in the house.
Yes, but it went horribly wrong, and she underestimated the strength of the poisonous mixture. And within a couple of hours,
You know what she said? My bad.
I doubt that's what she said. She probably said, "Oh shit."
Oh.
Within a couple of hours of eating the cake, 2 of the girls and their mom were dead. She confessed what she had done, which kudos to her, because we know where that's going to go. And then, as a revenge for the 2 little girls, an angry mob of both black and white men and women took her and hung her from a tree
Oh, wow.
on the location grounds. So it's been these days it's been restored. It functions as a bed and breakfast, which is
Crazy.
mind-boggling to me. So here's what's happening. So they've seen ghosts, heard sounds, footsteps. The ghosts have been identified as the daughters of the house, Cornelia, Gail, and Jane, along with their mother has been seen as well. Chloe, the servant, has also been spotted. And the mother's ghost is mainly seen on the main staircase, walking down as if to greet guests as they arrive. Chloe is often seen wandering off the grounds and has been seen by the tree where she was hung or hanged.
Wow.
That was a piss poor job on research from me, and I apologize.
So was she into voodoo? Is that what's part of it, you think?
That's what I
Making the
was wondering.
concoction?
with
I
the
would
concoction.
say so because of the area.
Yeah,
It
and
doesn't
it was so big back
specify.
there.
Yeah, it doesn't really specify in the research that I did. Like I couldn't find anything about voodoo, but I would say because that was such a huge thing, and still is really.
Yes, especially in Louisiana.
Yeah.
New Orleans.
Yeah, we're actually my sister-in-law and I. So my daughter's into like I don't want to say like witchcraft, but like crystals and herbs and like not really potions, but like that kind of spell work with like the dried herbs and stuff. And so we're planning a trip to New Orleans.
See, that's
Oh,
where I want
wow.
to go. New
That
Orleans.
would be
I'd love to
cool.
do like to have voodoo tours
Yes.
and like cemetery tours.
Yes, and that's I mean they're like crazy paranormal activity down
Look,
there.
I'm going to tell you, if I go on one of those, would you say a voodoo tour?
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there and some guy goes, yama, 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 yama.
You know what's about to have to happen. You
I'm
guys
gonna
keep
kill
talking.
you and
I'm
your
gonna turn this fan
mama.
off.
I'm
I'm
be
dying.
Like, I'm gone. You gonna turn your fan
I've
off?
got the worst case of swamp ass you've like ever.
Well, now everybody knows.
That's fine. I'm just being real. Like
Like,
That's
it
really,
happens.
but I wonder how much of this does actually lead to like, and I don't want to call them the dark arts, but like voodoo and
Yeah. It's a Harry Potter reference on him. He doesn't get it, but
the dark arts. Oh my god. Okay, Professor Snape. Sorry, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm not even sure what we're talking about. I'm just going along with it.
not voodoo.
I done lost everything.
You're
now.
wondering how.
How it affects stuff down there.
Nah, not really. I'm over it now.
Well, my
I don't know.
thoughts, do you think voodoo is real, or do people just believe in it so much that it makes it real?
I think a lot
That
of
is
it is power
that is
suggestion.
another really interesting
Because
theory.
I think
Really
you can
interesting.
talk to someone and say, "Oh, you look."
I don't know why you're pointing at me.
No, I'm not. This is just my
You
hand.
look.
You look sick, or you look like you don't feel good. I can
And
see
then
it
you
in
start
your,
feeling
and
bad.
they start feeling bad.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it is that power of perception.
I know a couple of people like
Look,
that.
big
too.
word, perception,
Well, you do have 2 doctorates. I would hope you
I
have
do.
a big vocabulary.
and a nurse.
I'm like surprised. I'm shocked we have 8 subscribers.
I'm not. I thought we should have more. But it really is. I wonder how much of it is just really like power of perception, or
Persuasion, just
or
making them believe in
and
it.
I don't mean this the way it sounds, but people with maybe a weaker mindset that's able to be influenced.
Well, that kind of people with lesser education.
I
And
mean,
well,
I
and then
just-
you have the opposite end of the spectrum, like right, like people who believe that they can like manifest
Yes.
things into reality.
Well, I mean, but
The dog, you see the
There's
dog
this,
panting and shaking.
I forget what it's called, but there's a thing called, it'll come to me in a minute, but it's basically, if you get enough people believing in it, it becomes true.
Oh, I saw that on Supernatural. What was that?
Tupa, something like that.
Something like that. You're so close. You're so close.
It's actually a real thing because I read up on it because I'm
Is it a
huge Supernatural-
tulpa?
It's a T.
Tulpa?
Topa, something like that. I
Okay.
can't
We're
remember.
gonna have to look that up. But
But
I remember that episode.
The show, and
Yeah.
it's actually a real thing that
Yeah.
people believe in it. You have so many people believe in it so much, sort of like Slender Man, not
Yeah.
a real thing, but it
Yes.
started as a story, and then people started
Yes.
believing in it
Yes.
and seeing it.
I remember that episode because wasn't that the Ghost Facers episode?
No, that was the one with like the play.
Oh, yep. You're right.
You have to be a Supernatural fan.
Sorry.
so. My
I still
next
haven't watched
state,
the last season. I can't bring myself to emotionally accept
Stop
what's
at
about to
episode
happen.
17.
Okay.
my next state, and this one's really
Can't emotionally handle what I know is going to happen.
My next state was Maine. And this kind of reminded me of the island we were talking about the other day. But this is called Outer Haven Island.
Mm-hmm.
And it's supposedly the home of a lost treasure that was put in a sea
Get
cave
up here. Come here.
with unexplained hieroglyphics in the hieroglyphics in the cage. I can't even speak. But a lot of people have lost their life trying to find this treasure.
Uh-huh.
And they say it's guarded by a ghost, which are several ghosts, which they believe are members of some sort of mysterious organization that hid the treasure, which kind of parallels, what was the island we were talking about the other day?
Oak Island.
Oak Island.
Oh yeah, okay.
It kind of parallels that story, so I'm kind of, that one kind of, I mean, there was a lot of parallels to that.
A lot of people dying trying to
A
find
lot
the
of people
treasure.
dying trying to find it. Some kind of unique organization hiding it.
Mm-hmm.
That, you know, some kind of like a hidden government. So I'm not real sure about that, but I
Wasn't
just
like-
thought it was
They
interesting.
found like the Knights Templar or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Now they didn't say the Knights Templar in this one. It just said an
Like
organization.
Freemasons or something.
Yeah, like it could have been Freemasons. They just said an organization.
Okay.
But I mean, like the Freemasons, isn't that kind of like? Aren't they into like some weird stuff like that?
Freemasons were, aren't they like basically our founding fathers? Weren't they all Freemasons?
George Washington was a
founding
Jefferson,
founding.
Adams.
Yes.
Here's what I'll say about the Freemasons, okay? I don't know anything about them, but we're gonna do a show when I come back after I go and visit my other dad. That's so weird. After I go visit my other dad, because my grandfather was a Freemason,
Oh, cool.
and I have ways of gathering some information.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Well, I know George Washington was a Freemason
Hey.
because I was actually watching a show on it the other day where
Let him in.
the Washington Monument and the actually has like Freemason symbols on it to
Oh.
represent that.
I did
So
not
what?
know that.
What do you have next?
I don't know. Maryland.
Maryland.
And I wrote this one down, y'all, so I was prepared for this.
First time for everything.
And it's long. Alright.
All right, I'm gonna take it out. Let me know where you're at.
This is, so what I chose was Fort McHenry in Baltimore. Okay. Most people know this as the birthplace of our national anthem. So this played a huge role in the War of 1812. It was used as a prison for Confederate soldiers during the Civil War and used as a hospital for the wounded during World War I. Also in 1812, 4 people were killed. The Civil War, 3 men were hung in the gallows, and it was also used as a hospital during the Spanish flu. So you hear soldiers walking, voices, sounds of footsteps, and cold spots. Here are a couple of specific spirits that have been seen, okay? So the first one is Lieutenant Levi Claggett. Sorry if I didn't pronounce that correctly. He was killed along with some of his men when a bomb burst in their gun emplacement. It broke a cannon wheel, and the cannon fell on him, crushing him to death, okay? Sergeant John Schultz Clem was hit with mortar, and he died. And some of his friends actually dug up the shrapnel as a souvenir.
Oh, and took it with them?
Yeah,
Out of his body?
yeah.
That sounds like for a haunting.
Yeah, that's kind
Thanks,
of weird.
bestie.
Like, I'll stay with you forever now.
Yeah. Private John Drew was imprisoned for falling asleep during his watch over the battery. I don't know what that is.
That's the roll cannons, I think.
Yep.
Alright, I'm so glad we have her on. Alright. While he was locked up, a guard set his gun within arm's reach, and Drew killed himself. So he's been seen in that cell, and he's been seen pacing back and forth in front of his former post where he fell asleep. And then there's a ghost that they have named the Hostile Ghost.
Yeah, He
Okay.
just flipped your pages.
This is a white figure of a woman who takes her sorrow and death out on the living. She pushes people down the stairs. She knocks people unconscious. She may be the wife of an officer assigned to the fort whose children died during an epidemic in the 1920s, but no one really knows who she is.
So, I have to wonder on that one. When do they actually become like that one, knocking people down and stuff? Wonder what triggers that.
A lot of theories are, at first they're not angry. The longer they stay around, the angrier they get, as we know from
Well, they
Supernatural.
can leave.
Right.
Not necessarily, because
I mean,
some
they know
people think
where-
if you don't go towards the light when you first die, you can't afterwards.
Yeah,
You're stuck.
stuck here. For
Well, then why wouldn't you go towards the light when you first die?
Unfinished business, unfinished love, grudges.
Well, then why are
knows?
you getting mad at me and pushing me down a step? You're the one decided to stay.
I have a theory that what if
Not
it's
me.
not really spirits, that when we die we just go to a different plane of existence, like the
What if
fourth
it's-
dimension, the fifth dimension, whatever.
What if it's not really a ghost pushing, it's just clumsy people?
Could be that too. Loose piece of rug.
I mean,
there, a lot of this is open to interpretation.
Yeah, everybody
Right.
has their own.
I
theory.
just have to wonder why. I mean, I guess some ghosts just don't have their coffee in the morning.
Maybe.
I don't know. It
But
just-
have you ever heard the theory that it's really not all time exists as one? So it's not so much that they're ghosts, it's just we're having a glimmer into the past, and they're living right beside us, just in a
Look,
different time zone.
I went to the bathroom this morning. I had a glimmer into the
That's
past.
a very similar theory to like your multiverse type
kinda.
scenario.
Everybody's living the same, but each one, but instead of like, you turn right instead of left and throw off a new dimension.
Yeah.
It's all the same dimension, it's just all times converged.
And Doctor Strange is mean in all of them.
No, he's
I love
not.
I
Doctor
saw the
Strange.
movie. I saw the movie.
You can't beat
He's a-
Benedict Cumberbatch.
Shannon loves her some Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
I'm all about Loki.
And Loki's pretty cute too.
Yes, thank you.
I feel like I'm so out of place here.
Dad likes Thor.
I like Thor too, but
He's got
He's
a
like,
nice bum.
Woo, I love your hammer.
Thor's got a nice bum. The lady Thor.
Oh my god.
So on that note, let's go to my next one, which was the easiest one I've ever done.
Okay.
Massachusetts, because that's the Salem witch
What did you
stuff.
just say?
Massachusetts.
Massachusetts.
I can't say it.
Massachusetts.
That's what I said,
I can't say it either.
Massachusetts.
You said Massachusetts.
Close enough. They're up north.
Anybody who's watching from Massachusetts, I
Get a new state name.
thoroughly apologize.
Massachusetts. I can't say
Oh
it.
my god. Listen, I do work with people over the seas in India, and they call Tennessee, where we're from, they call it Tennessee. So
So Massachusetts is fine. But this was an easy one because it was like the Salem witch trials.
you just offended a whole state.
Get over it. If you get offended that easy, you're way
Grammar
too.
police over here.
If you get offended that
Sorry.
easy, you need to get a life. I really am trying to say it. It just does not roll off the tongue of somebody from the South, Massachusetts. If you don't,
I don't think there's a T in there though.
I'm pretty sure that you and I are from the South, are we not?
Yeah, but I don't say it right either.
Oh,
Massachusetts.
say it again.
Massachusetts.
Massachusetts.
Well, see, she said a T.
I say no. She said CH.
Massachusetts.
We say Massachusetts.
Well, now
With
it
a T.
sounds weird to my ear because I've said it 5 times.
Massachusetts. Massachusetts.
Massachusetts.
Oh, like Massachew, like chew, and then
Set.
Zeus.
Sets.
Massachusetts.
Let's-
Massachusetts.
What you got going on in Massachusetts?
Well, it's the Salem witch. Let's just say Salem.
There you go.
It's the Salem witch trials
Bless
that
the
happened
Lord.
in 1692 in Massachusetts. How's
Better.
that?
Better.
They happened in 1692,
He can be taught.
and there was hundreds of them that were burned and all this other stuff. But the one that I think it's not the coolest, but it sounded like it would be so. Like I would be pissed enough to come back and haunt some people over this. They crushed a guy between 2 big stones. Now that would piss me off. But he could say he's got 2 big stones.
They had so many.
They hung so many, burned them at the stake.
Yes.
And
Wasn't there a test where, like, if you they
there was,
throw
like,
you in the
throw you in the river with rocks attached. And if
Yes.
you come up, you're a witch.
Yes.
But if you drown, you're dead, and you're not a witch.
You're innocent, but you're dead, so it doesn't
Dead.
matter.
Yeah, it's like
Okay, what?
People were nuts.
people were nuts.
It was. Oh my god.
So
See that?
I did.
now I'm understanding why this state was named what it was named. So they tied rocks to people and threw them in water.
To prove if they were a witch or not.
And if you MacGyvered it and came up, you were a witch.
They're gonna kill you
Okay, but
anyway.
here's the thing. If you were a witch and you came up, why wouldn't you just like turn them all into rats?
Dad, he wants to remove your
Ah,
legs.
buddy.
I think he wants to go visit with Shannon.
Why wouldn't you just turn them all into rats or bats or mice or dice?
Well, because none of them were actual witches.
No, they were more into, herbal medicines and
Yeah.
things like that.
And a lot of it was, oh my God, you looked at me wrong. You're a witch.
Well, I think also a lot
well,
of
we say that these
some
days,
of the
but
other
we
women
replace.
were jealous
Yes,
of some of the other
yes,
women and blamed them for
yes.
things.
We kind of say that these days, but we replace the W with a B.
Well, that's true too.
maybe we should have the Salem.
I don't know that I've
job.
ever been accused of being a. I'm sure I have.
Hey,
and
let's,
it's fine because I know deep down that I totally can be. So I get it.
we're gonna have the Salem. The microphone's not plugged in.
No, we don't need it.
Oh, okay.
I
but-
only had that out there if we
Now,
had to
see,
move
something like that. If I believed in all the haunting and stuff, that would be a place I would think they would
Oh,
have it.
for sure.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I don't think there would be
absolutely.
any question. I mean, I think you could go out
I
there.
would love to visit
Salem.
Salem.
I would love to do that. too.
Yes.
I bet you could go out there at night,
should
like all the
totally do
ghosts would be having
It's
like
on my
a little
bucket list to go
campfire.
there.
We should totally do it. What'd you say?
I said, I bet you could visit there at night, and there's so many.
They actually have a couple of the old houses that were from the 1600s still there that you can actually sleep in overnight.
No thanks. But you could probably go there, and all the ghosts would be like around a little campfire, talking about, "Hey, Joe, did you scare anybody today?" Yeah, I did.
Here we go again.
I wonder if spirits do talk to each other.
I wonder, did they come home at night like, "Hey, honey, I'm home. Had a long day. I tried
Well,
to scare this guy
so-
7 times."
You do have those instances, and I'm just strictly going by what I've seen on TV and
Yeah.
stuff like that. But you do have those instances where you have like a really powerful spirit that's like trapping.
The smaller, lesser
Yes,
powerful ones.
yes.
I've
So
seen that too.
I would have to assume that on some level they would have to communicate
Yeah.
on some level.
Won't know till we get to that side.
So you're telling me a ghost traps another ghost?
Yeah, so you have some evil man who killed kids when he was alive.
Yes.
He could keep the children's spirits killed in the house with him once
Yeah.
he's dead.
Yeah.
And trap them there so he could keep torturing them over and over.
Wow.
Oh my God. You're gonna be able to hear the dog again and stuff.
Just tell him it's a spirit painting.
What would you call that? I mean, they couldn't arrest the ghost for wrongful imprisonment because they're ghosts. But
You wouldn't arrest. So I think a lot of like that's where your cleansings come into play. If
Psychics
it's
can cross them over. And
exorcisms.
is there
for
a
the-
ghost police?
there's ghost hunters.
Well, I mean, I wonder if like there's ghost police that comes in and says, "Hey, buddy, you ghost, you're doing this wrong. You're under arrest. You got to go to ghost prison."
No, but that could be like the role a priest would take to come in and bless the house.
What is it like Whoopi Goldberg in that movie? Bless you.
I don't know who's
I
that.
swear it concerns me.
yeah.
It concerns me more and more every episode we do that I actually came from this man. Like it's concerning to me.
It's your future.
I know. I need that to not
I
be a
just
thing.
have questions.
Maybe I have just enough of my mom and me to like balance it out.
I just have questions.
Ooh, Lord.
I mean, evidently y'all are a lot more knowledgeable about these ghost things than
Tried to
I
vape out
am.
of my pen.
Because I'm not. I mean, but I don't vape out of a pen either. So, but to me, I don't know. I just don't know. I mean, have you ever seen like a full body apparition?
I have not seen a full body apparition. The most vision thing I've ever seen was phantom smoke.
That comes from a vape.
No, there was nobody vaping when we were in there. But later we learned that this was at South Pittsburgh Haunted Hospital in South Pittsburgh,
yes.
Tennessee. You said James went there when he broke
Yes.
his arm or something.
Yep,
or-
at the old hospital.
Yeah. And they said, I forget the doctor's name, but that he would walk in the back where they did like blood tests and blood transfusions and things. He would walk down that hallway and smoke cigarettes. Because, of course, this was back in the 40s, 50s, 60s.
Yeah, it was common.
And they would smoke back there.
When
And
I
that he
was
would always smoke. And we walked into where that room, that area, that hallway, and as soon as we walked in, you just see a puff of smoke go down the hallway.
That's
Wow.
So that's the most thing I've ever seen. Most of mine are hearing. I
Yeah.
hear stuff.
cool. What,
Okay.
What's the? Because I got a really cool one to end mine with. What's your next one?
Oh, my next one is Michigan. It's the Henderson Castle in Kalamazoo.
Kalamazoo.
This was built in 1895.
Whoop-de-doo, I'm in Kalamazoo.
They have apparitions of Frank
Whoa.
Henderson wandering the grounds along with a mysterious little girl. There
What
was
a creep.
a war veteran is seen, and the spirit of Henderson's wife is seen. They have unexplained noises and figures in Victoria era clothing.
Like,
I could not find why these spirits were there.
I'm gonna say again, when I start looking at these things and I hear people hear noises or door shuts and things like that, like these are old houses. I think a lot of that is just settling.
But that's when you have to investigate and see if
Now,
there's
see,
a
that would
window
be cool.
open.
I would like to do
You know,
that.
was the air on? You know.
Yeah, I don't know if that. So I legit was like convinced that there was a demon in the attic
They brought Christmas ornaments.
because I was hearing like ruckus up above, while I'm working, and I'm like, oh, yeah, like we gotta move. You gotta move or burn it down. So I investigated further, and I realized that every day at the same time, like 4 squirrels like to run across my house back and forth.
And bring Christmas ornaments.
These damn squirrels had me convinced
There's a demon up there.
there was a demon up there. It was like I was like having like these images of like I went straight to The Exorcist, that movie, and I was like, oh my god, it started in the attic. I'm like, I'm hearing stuff up here. Like it was awful.
My last one is really cool.
Okay.
Never have I heard a ghost story of a hooker and a pimp
Oh, here we
being
go.
the ghost.
Hooker and a
Here we
Yes,
go.
this was in Minnesota at the Palmer House Hotel.
Minnesota.
Minnesota. But that's not come from Chicago.
Minnesota.
So anyway, the female ghost's name is Lacey.
Okay.
And she stays in room 17.
Okay.
And there's 2 chairs. If you sit in one chair, you're fine. But if you sit in 2 chairs, the ghost attacks because it forces her to the bed where she did her job.
Provided her service.
But the cool part about the story is her pimp daddy Raymond
daddy.
stays in room 22 down the hall. So I wonder if he's still trying to collect back old money. That's why he's there. That's the first time I've ever read of a ghost, prostitute, and pimp.
I've never heard that.
Isn't that cool?
So my question is, people who stay in room 22, do they end up missing money?
They end up
Yeah.
missing things, yes. But here's my question now. I'm wondering because of what y'all were talking about earlier, like one ghost, like putting another ghost in a cage or whatever they do. I wonder if that's the case.
Probably because he controlled her in life, he controls her in death.
So Pimp Daddy's still trying to make money there.
Mm-hmm.
I bet that's why he's taking people's stuff.
Yeah. Because he thinks if they're in her room, I want to take their money.
Huh. But that's pretty cool. That's going to slide into number 3. That goes behind Fatty Walsh. Me and Fatty, we go way back.
So my next one is Mississippi. This is a pretty long one because I have to give you the stories for you to understand the activity that's happening there. So bear with me. I'm going to talk as fast as I can. Here we go. This is on the McRaven home in Vicksburg.
Oh, I've heard that place just recently.
Yeah.
They're offering tours to it now for investigations.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes, they
Are
are.
you going?
I want to. I haven't paid anything for there, though.
So this was built in 1797. McRaven was a simple 2-story dwelling consisting of a kitchen on the first floor and a bedroom on the second. At the time, it belonged to notorious criminal Andrew Glass, who was known for robbing and murdering unsuspecting travelers on the Natchez Trace. Since there were no stairs, the second floor was only accessible by a ladder that was never left out because Glass feared that other criminals or the law would come for him. According to the local legend, Glass returned home one night after being shot, pulled up the ladder, and had his wife finish him off so he wouldn't be hung. Glass was the first person to die in
What's he doing,
McRaven,
granddaughter?
but definitely not the last. By 1836, the Vicksburg home belonged to Sheriff Stephen Howard and his wife Mary Elizabeth. The new owners closed in a balcony and added a set of stairs, dining room, 2 balconies, and an upstairs bedroom. Local records indicate that Mary Elizabeth died in the upstairs bedroom soon after giving birth to the couple's son. McRaven's final renovations came in 1849 when John H. Bobb from Philadelphia acquired the home. At this time, a front entry, parlor, flying wing staircase, upstairs bedroom, and dressing area were added. Because portions of McRaven were... Am I boring you?
No, I just had to yawn. I was trying to hide it.
Because portions of McRaven were constructed at different times and exhibit varying architectural styles, the home has been referred to as the time capsule of the South. The 3 different styles of the home can be seen... Well, we don't need to hear that. During the siege of Vicksburg, McRaven was transformed into a makeshift hospital. According to local legend, John H. Bobb caught some Union soldiers tampering with his crops, became enraged, and threw a brick at one of them.
Oh, wow.
Seeing... I could see your dad doing that.
You're a brick.
Doing that.
Seeking revenge, the soldiers returned later that night and killed Bob, making him the 3rd resident to die
Poor
in
Bob.
McRaven.
Poor Bob.
Seems a little dramatic.
Poor Bob. He just threw a brick.
By the time McRaven was put up for sale in 1960, it had become so overgrown with weeds and vines that the many residents were unaware of its existence.
Oh, wow.
But the new owners, the Bradleys, saw McRaven's potential, restored the home, and opened it for tours. Not long after, the home was placed on National Registers of Historic Places. So it was in 1886. It was purchased by the Murrays. They're the only residents known to have raised children there. And the last Murray family members to reside in the home were 2 Spencer sisters, Ella and Annie. Oh my God, this is like crazy. Okay, so this guy in 1984, Mr. Leland French, purchased the house. French had several frightening supernatural encounters while living in McRaven. In one instance, he was chased by the ghost of former resident Mr. Murray. Not long after, French was pushed to the ground by an unseen force. He fell down face first, broke his glasses, and required stitches. Another time, a drawer mysteriously slammed on French's hands with such force that it broke both of his thumbs. The last instance persuaded him to move from McRaven.
You know what the ghost said to Mr. Francis? Snitches get stitches.
Oh my God. French's supernatural encounters were only the beginning in the years that followed. The Vicksburg home became the site of a number of unexplained mysteries, such as doors slamming, lights flickering on and off, alarm clocks going off in the middle of the night, and of course, sightings of former occupants. One of the home's most haunted rooms is the upstairs bedroom in which Mary Elizabeth passed away. Witnesses have reported the lights in the room turning on and off by themselves, as well as an impression of a body suddenly appearing on the bed. For quite some time, I knew you were going to get a kick out of that. For quite some time, Mary Elizabeth's wedding shawl was on display in the home. Several visitors have claimed to feel a presence pulling the shawl from their hands. Another hot spot for paranormal activity is Mr. Glass's old room. In one instance, a tour guide was in the room when a chair suddenly slammed to the ground on its own. Since McRaven played such an important role in the Civil War, several spirits are believed to be fallen soldiers. The spirit of a teenage girl has been spotted by several witnesses. She is commonly spotted in one of the bedrooms as well as on one of the staircase. The paranormal activity has been documented by A&E, the Travel Channel, and 48 Hours. And there are multiple EVPs that have been captured and are available online if you look for them.
I guess there again, I'm going to go back. Do you see kind of the parallel in these? It's like hospitals or prisons.
Do you know a lot of the hauntings that I research for these states they have something to do with a war.
A tragic event.
Yes, whether it be World War II, World War I, Civil War, Revolutionary War, the War of 1812, just a war in general. That's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing a big trend.
Yeah, I'm kind of, I guess the analytical part of me, I'm kind of seeing that connection. You know, hospitals, prisons, war
Maybe
brigade.
it's where people die and pain and scared.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
that leaves an impression of their spirit.
Maybe
Yeah.
that's the whole thing.
I think if you like that's another theory, right? So if you pass away and it's not in a peaceful manner, you're, I don't know, I don't want to say doomed to walk the earth forever, but like
You can't do it.
it's hard to move on, I guess, if you have like a difficult
That's wild.
passing.
That's really, yeah, that's kind of, you start putting that together. Huh. Makes you go,
Man, a few words. So that was my last state, and with that being said, let's talk about ghost investigating.
Sounds like fun.
I'm
who you gonna
excited.
call?
So,
Ghostbusters.
I have questions.
Okay.
I have questions. So, are you, first of all, are you a part of a team, or is this just like a for fun kind of thing?
Both.
Both?
We're usually the same group of people go every time.
Okay.
And you
So-
bought your own equipment too,
We
right?
bought some equipment. Nothing expensive. We're poor people, but
Fair enough.
we're also a group of friends. So
Okay.
you know, it started out just going for fun, and then it's like, oh well, let's go here. Oh well, let's get some equipment so we can do stuff on our own instead of having to go. Because a lot of places around here do like group tours.
Mhm.
So it'll be, you know, most of them are like $70 to $100, and you go with like 20 to 30 other people
Yeah.
to go a ghost hunt.
Yeah.
And so we thought, instead of doing that, let's buy some equipment and just start renting the places ourselves. And it's just us 5 or 6 people. And so it's less contamination. We don't have to worry
Right.
about people setting things up to make us believe.
Right.
You know, we have a
So-
more honest experience.
So can I come and bring my microphone? I'll walk around like
You can.
Fatty
So
Walsh.
this is a microphone that was purchased at Five Below. If you're going to bring a microphone, I would suggest a different
A
one.
good one.
Where am I going to plug it in?
Right. Okay.
So what kind of equipment do you use?
Yeah.
So one of the things we've had the best experience from is cat balls. And Amazon sells these. This comes in a 3 or 4 pack. They're little round cat
Time out.
balls.
4 cats.
They light up.
You're gonna go there.
Like you push the little button and they light up when they move. So they're like red, blue, yellow. You know, they're light up when they move.
Yeah.
So you turn them on and we'll put them in the middle of a hallway and walk away, you know, 10, 15, 20 feet away and start asking questions. And ask the spirit to move the ball. You know, left for yes, right for no, whatever.
Yeah.
And a lot of times the ball will move and come on.
Now have you checked to make sure the floor's level?
Yes.
So you take a level in and
Well, we don't take a level in. But for
And you don't
example-
like feel a draft or
Yeah,
anything
no, no.
like that. Okay.
So, one of the best experiences I've had with the cat balls is the South Pittsburgh Hospital again. We were on the, I think it was the 2nd floor, and there's a long hallway. There's rooms on each side, and we shut all the rooms' doors so there was no wind coming through the open windows because some of the windows are broken.
Yeah.
And it just ends. There's nothing at the end of it. And we set the balls up right towards the middle of the hallway, and we went back up to the cross hallway and sat. And for 30 minutes, nothing. Didn't light up, nothing. And supposedly a little girl died there. Her name was, I think it was Emily. And she's 8 to 9 years old. And so I started asking Emily, or you hear, you know, these little balls, if you push them around, they'll light up. Within seconds, the balls lit up. And I was like, okay, so it's you, Emily, light them up again. And they lit up again.
Oh.
I'm like, okay. I was like, I'm going to count. And when I reach how old you are, make the balls light up. So I start counting slowly, you know. 1, I wait 10, 15 seconds and go on up. And when I hit 9, all 3 of those balls lit up. And then when I asked her to stop, they stopped.
That's amazing.
And so we would ask questions, yes or no, and they would light up.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so it was a very cool experience.
It's amazing, but at the same time, it's saddening to me.
That is a little girl.
Yes.
Supposedly there's 2 little boys there too,
Wow.
but I don't remember what they said they thought their names were. But
Wow.
yeah, South Pittsburgh, it was very good. The first time we went there, we went with other people, a bigger group. We just went along with other people, and we were in the hallway down from the nurses' station. And then there was this guy, and he had some little light up balls like that too. And he wanted to walk down to the end of the hallway and put him there, but he was afraid to go by himself. Grown man now. And so my friend Shelly says, I'll go with you because I want to see how it works.
Right.
He's like, okay. So they go down to the end of the hallway and they go to lay down the things, or they got midway down the hallway. And Shelly said all of a sudden they could hear footsteps rushing towards them. That man screamed, she screamed, and they came running back as fast as they could to the rest of the group.
Oh my god.
Because she said it sounded like heavy work boots running towards them. And in that same hallway, just a little bit before that, another person who goes with me is Heather. She was sitting on the ground halfway down the hallway, watching and listening. Because we also have laser grids. It's like a little pin that pulls out a laser grid. So if anything walks in front of it, we can see that, those marks go away.
Right.
And so she was down there just watching, and she jumped, and she scooted back a little bit towards us, and then she's like, shit. And we're like, what? She's like, did y'all not see that? And we're like, what? She's like, something crawled at the end of the hallway, crawled from one room into the next room.
Nope.
And we didn't know it at the time, but supposedly they have something there called the crawler or the creepy crawler. And that's what it does. They see it crawling up the walls. They see it crawling around the floor.
Oh my god.
She swears that she saw it there.
Oh my god. Nope.
Yep.
No, thank you.
But yeah, so we have we have the laser grid pin. We have the cat balls. We've got a spirit box.
Okay. Yeah.
So got a few things off of that was interesting. So
Okay.
Yeah, if I saw something, I'd be
So-
like, check please.
Yeah, for real. Like, I'm out.
I'm out.
I'm out. So, of all the places that you've been, all the experiences that you've had, things you've heard, whatever, what is the most, like, the thing that sticks with you to this day, the one thing that you look back on and go, holy shit, that happened?
So you should totally go with us when we go to the Thomas House next. The
Okay.
Thomas House Hotel in Red Boiling Springs. They do overnight ghost hunts. You get to sleep
She's
in the
talking to you,
hotel.
not me.
She's talking to both of us, because
Yeah,
I'm not
she's
going there
talking to
without a, I need my daddy.
Yeah, it is very cool. The first night I went, I took my nieces. The very first ghost hunt I ever went on. My
Yeah.
nieces were really into like watching the ghost hunter shows. And things.
Right.
And their birthday's in October, so I bought tickets to take them to this haunted hotel for their birthday. I didn't think much about it.
Right.
And so we did the ghost hunt, and right off the start, it's 2 stories. You come up the landing to the second floor, and there's like a little sitting room. And it splits in a hallway this way and a hallway down this way. And so we're just sitting there chilling. Nobody else is upstairs but us. And it's middle of the day. It's like 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. We were one of the first ones there. Nobody else was there yet besides the people putting it on.
Okay.
And all of a sudden, from down one hallway, we hear this god-awful woman scream. It's like somebody was killing her. I mean, just a scream of terror. And we both all three of us jump up and look over our shoulder and go, holy hell, did you hear that? And so we went down the hallway thinking maybe a lady was down there in one of the rooms and fell or something. And there was nobody in any of the rooms because they leave all the doors open so people can go in and out until people get to claim their rooms. And there was nobody down that hallway but us. So
Shannon, I would have shit my pants.
it scared me. My heart, that moment of panic where your heart races.
I'm not even playing. Like, you're like, you should come with us, but like, I literally do not want to shit my pants in front of you.
Oh, it'd be okay.
Oh my god.
Just wear shorts, that way it just drops right out and you can keep going.
Depends. I'm wearing Depends. That's oh my
Yeah.
god.
Thomas House has the best experience. They have another little hallway opposite that it's like, I call it the green hallway. So it's just painted green. And we were sitting there, everybody was quiet, and all of a sudden you hear this faint whistle coming closer and closer down the hallway, walking towards you. And they said I think the original owner's name was Claude, I think, Claude, something like that.
Yeah.
That he would whistle when he was up there, doing work on the house. So they thought it was him whistling down the hallway.
Makes sense.
And so that experience. And across the street, they have an old abandoned church that used to be, because the Thomas House was built the late 1800s, and it was built as a resort spa. When people, take the what do they call it? The waters, the
mineral water.
mineral springs water spas.
Yeah.
It was made for that.
Okay.
And so they had eventually got so big they built a church because people would come. Like one of the President Wilson, I think, or Woodrow Wilson,
Yeah.
had came and stayed there once.
We call
Wow.
him Woody.
Woody, because this was before like the interstates came
Him
in,
and
so
Fatty
everybody was
Walsh
passing
were
through
real
that little
close to each
town.
other.
Woody
Dad.
and Fatty Walsh. But so it was really popular, so they had built a little church across from it.
Mm-hmm.
And supposedly the deacon was not so good. I don't remember exactly what he did, but I think he was messing around with a married woman or one of the young girls or something. And he ended up hanging himself in the church. So during the ghost hunt, you go to different places. They have like different hallways, and then they have a seance room. They have like a little museum place that has a bunch of creepy dolls. So I didn't like that place so much. But and then across you go to the church. And so we were sitting there and we sat. There's only one door in, no doors at the back of it, just the one door in the front.
Yeah.
And we were sitting back where like the pulpit would be, and we were looking towards the front. And somebody had set up motion detectors right at the door. Mm-hmm. And we were just sitting there, and we'd ask a question, and the motion detectors would go off. And I think there's 12 of us in that group. We were all sitting in the back. Nobody was up there. So that was a good experience.
So, are you, would you say that you're sensitive to these things?
I don't think I'm sensitive.
No?
No. My friend Shelly, she thinks she's a little bit sensitive.
Yeah.
Because sometimes she'll get feelings and things.
I'll tell you,
Because we had an interesting conversation about that.
I'm fairly sensitive to the, like, I get feelings. I can feel when there's, like, when something's not right, or when I feel like a different, like a presence, or like, I get,
somebody's watching you or something.
yes, yeah, so I can feel stuff like that. This one, my daughter, is uber sensitive to stuff. She sees stuff, she hears stuff, she has these dreams, very sensitive to it. So I was just
I
curious.
guess I'm insensitive too.
Yeah, well, you're kind of closed-minded on
Yeah.
stuff like that. So
And I think that's my part. I'm a little skeptical.
Mm-hmm.
I go, I try, I want to
think
find
my
the truth,
thing
but I
is-
think I'm a little skeptical, and
I
that's
think
my
that's
thing where
my
I'm not
thing.
so sensitive to
I
it.
think that's my thing is there's got to be an explanation. I want to find the explanation because I'm a
Fair.
bottom line person.
Okay.
I mean, that's just my
Well, I
personality.
mean, there's stuff that happens that I just can't, I can't explain, and it correlates with other things that are like, that lead me to believe
Yeah.
that this is not,
Well, one of the conversations,
this is absolutely 100%.
one of the
paranormal.
conversations we had was, like, especially on ghost hunts and stuff, do people that may be more sensitive or in tune with spirituality, do they tend to see more or hear more or have more experiences
Right.
than people that are more skeptical?
I will tell one of my visits to the Thomas house. There was actually a psychic there, Chip Coffee. You know him?
The Chip Coffee.
The Chip Coffee. He came. to
Are
the-
you Are you kidding me?
No. He came. We literally stayed the night because we wanted to see him.
Now, see,
do a
I would
psychic.
have that reaction if it was chocolate chip cookies.
Shut up. I love Chip Coffee.
Yes, he was amazing.
I
I
don't
did not
even know
believe in
who it
psychics
is.
until I met him at the Thomas house.
Oh my god.
Because it was the strangest experience. I met this lady and her son when we went in, and we were just talking. Didn't know anything about her. Didn't know her history.
Yeah.
And I was with her before we even met him, and she never really talked to him one-on-one or anything. So there's no way he could have had her story.
Right.
No way he could have found out anything about her.
Right.
'Cause, I mean, we did, we sat together at the dinner, we kind of stuck together because we met her when she was the first one there too with us.
Mm-hmm.
And so he came up, he talked about his experiences. And have you ever heard one of his experiences when he worked at the psychiatric hospital?
No.
I guess this is when he first realized he was psychic or something.
Okay.
He said he was in the psychiatric hospital, and it was a big black woman with him. It was the other nurse, if he was a nurse or an orderly or something. And they heard a ruckus from one of the rooms. And so they went down, him and her, to check on this patient. There was I don't remember if it was a man or a woman, but he said they opened the door and looked in, and this person was facing the window, their back towards the door, and their head was turned all the way around, 160, looking behind them straight on, and screamed at him when they opened the door. And he said the lady that was with them screamed her head off and went running out the door, and went
She
running,
shit her pants.
went running out the hallway. He said I calmly closed the door and went, hell no. But yeah,
Oh my
he was
God.
amazing. But he told this lady that I sat beside and talked to, her husband had passed away not long ago. And her son was there. I think he was 12 or 13 or so.
Yeah.
And he just told everybody, we know we're all sitting in this little banquet room. He's like, if you want me to read you, just raise your hand. And so almost everybody raised their hand.
Right.
And he called on her because he's like, I can't choose you. As the spirits come to me, they'll tell me who to choose.
Right.
And so he pointed out at her, 3 or 4 in, and he's like, what's your name? And she told him, he's like, okay, I have so and so here. I forget the man's name. She's like, and she just starts crying. He's like, this is your husband? And she's like shaking her head, yes. And he looks at the boy, and he goes, and this must be, and he called him a nickname, and I don't remember the nickname, but only his daddy called him this. And they both just lost it. And I had never believed until that moment, because there's no way he would have known that.
I want to go see a psychic so bad.
Yeah, he was very cool.
We should do that one day.
I want to go see a psychic. But here's my thing. So first of all, the psychics here locally are astronomically expensive. Like, it's ridiculous. And a lot of the times they want to do, like, you would need to do like a group reading to be able to afford it, right?
Yeah.
Because come on, that's ridiculous.
It's expensive.
Yes, but at this, like, I'm like, if I put this money in, like, I have certain people that
You'd like to contact.
I'd like to contact, I'd like to hear from, and if I don't, I'm going to be absolutely crushed.
Well, here's my thing.
Oh, sorry.
Like I said before, I went to a psychic one time and they wasn't there. So if they're psychic, they would know I was coming.
You would think so. But they have to live their life too.
I think there's a difference between a psychic and like a psychic medium, though, right?
Is there a psychic
I
large?
don't really know. What is the
A Route 44
I think
psychic?
like a psychic, they claim to like, know, I don't want to say know the future, but like they can see your path and like whatever guides you along, whatever. A psychic medium, I think, are the ones that can
converse with the dead?
Yes.
No, the psychic medium is the short
I
one.
think.
It's the
Please don't
little
quote
one.
me on that because I'm not sure. And anybody watching our 8 subscribers, if you know the
A
difference.
psychic medium is like under 5 foot. A psychic large is like 5 to 5'8", and a psychic extra large is 6 foot.
I was going to say psychic mediums are more connected with spirits than anything else. They commune with the dead, and the dead are, well, they're mostly more okay with the psychic mediums than any other person.
That makes sense.
I never knew there was a difference. See, I'm learning all this stuff.
And we're gonna go through a whole series, guys, on psychics. We need to
Yes.
get through the ghost ones first. We're gonna do ghosts. We're gonna
And-
do psychics. We're gonna do conspiracy theories. We're
I
gonna
think
like
we
all
need
kinds
to,
of.
we need to schedule
stuff.
like a regular session every once in a while here.
Yeah. So I definitely feel like Dad and I should go on an investigation with
Can
Shannon.
we film it?
Definitely.
Can
And
we film
I
it?
feel like we should.
Oh,
film.
that's gonna be so
I feel
cool.
like we should film,
That's
and then
gonna be so
everyone on YouTube gets to see me shit my pants.
Because the first thing I'm going to do is try to scare people.
Because that's 100% gonna happen.
Now, I will say sometimes you go and you don't get nothing. Like,
If I'm there, you're going to get something.
like the last one I went on, we had very, very few experiences. We went to the Walking Horse Hotel in War Trace.
Okay.
And, Civil War, Confederate soldiers had a railroad, so the soldiers came in and out of the trains, and they kept Confederate prisoners around in the area. And so we thought it would be very active. And it was actually the birthplace of the Tennessee Walking Horse.
Yeah.
So we went in, the place inside, it was a beautiful hotel, but inside they were demolishing it. They were remodeling it. So there was like no walls. You could see studs and wires.
That's
and
another red
pipes.
flag, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So they're supposed to be really active when they're
Yeah.
doing that kind of stuff. And the only thing we got the whole night, and it was a nice, dark, stormy night. So you think all the electricity in the air, supposedly spirits need electrical currents, for energy. The only thing we heard was there was a door slam, but they had broken windows, so it could have been just the wind from the storm shut a door.
And then no way to debunk that.
No way to debunk that one. So the only experience we really had was we were sitting downstairs and they had this huge mirror, and we were all sat around it looking into it.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you just hear this woman crying, just for a split second, just weeping her heart out. And I mean, it lasted maybe 2 or 3 seconds at most. Just for long enough for us all to look at it and go, "Did you hear that?" And then it was gone.
So do they do money back guarantees if you don't have any experience?
No. But that was the more reasonable one. It was like, I think it was $450.
Woo! A person?
No, all together.
Oh my
You could bring
god!
up to
I was
10
about to have a
people.
heart attack.
No, we could
I was
have
like, we're gonna have to
people.
do an investigation in the house because.
I think the only time I get really scared is if I'm walking through somewhere and I hear, "I do not say blah blah blah."
Have you ever done the battleground?
I've not done the battleground, but I have heard some of their ghost stories.
Don't they
of what
do a
they have.
ghost tour?
Okay.
They do a candlelight tour, but it's not really a ghost tour. It's more they just go around and tell you stories of the people buried in the graveyard.
Is that maybe the Sam Davis home that does
No.
the ghost tour?
No, they do like a haunted hayride at Halloween.
Oh, I thought
So
somebody around here did
for
one.
those who don't know, we are close to the Stones River battlefield or battleground.
Yeah.
A major Civil War battle.
Major Civil War. It's one of
One of the
Bloodiest.
bloodiest.
one of the
Yeah.
bloodiest from the Civil War. So that's what I was referring to when I said the battleground was Stones River.
So-
Supposedly there's like a headless soldier that wanders around the grounds.
we live
Now,
far
will
enough
they-
away. Don't worry.
Will they let you go up there at night?
Not legally.
Okay, I didn't think so.
I do know some people who got dropped off like around midnight,
Uh-huh.
not me,
Uh-huh.
and just snuck their way into the woods. Because, I mean, it's all wooded.
Yeah.
They're not going to see you unless you have a bright flashlight flashing
Right.
around everywhere.
Right.
And and of course, this was years ago, before I really got into it.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember them telling me that they saw bright green eyes looking out of the woods at them.
Gotta go.
And like wherever they went, they would look around and they'd see the green eyes following them.
Let me tell you this. So we went to and I've already mentioned this on the show, but Shannon's not one of our subscribers, so
I will have to see.
She will be
Okay.
now.
we went to the battleground, and it was actually, we were there to take some family photos of me and Brennan and Angela.
I did my
And,
niece and nephew's graduation pictures there.
Yeah,
It's beautiful grounds.
It is. It's amazing. So anyway, my father-in-law was with us, and he was manning the camera for us because obviously I didn't have a tripod back then because we were like flat broke. But anyway, so we're walking, and I don't know if you're familiar with the area, but it's where they would take the dying and the wounded. It's where all
The
these
slaughter pen.
slaughter pen.
Yeah,
That's
it has
exactly
all that
what-
lime rock.
Yes, with
Yeah.
the lines running through.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're walking towards that, and we're on the trail where the grass is like up here, Brad. I can see that the trees are like right here. I can start to see the rock. Something reached out and grabbed my leg.
Oh.
Okay, and so I was like, I jumped right, and I looked down because my first thought was snake. I've been bitten.
Yeah.
Snake, snake. And my father-in-law's behind me, and I was like, "There's nothing there." Like something grabbed me. So I was like, "I'm not gonna say anything," because I had, Angela was there. I didn't want to freak anybody out. So I'm like, "Okay, just keep walking forward." My father-in-law saw the reaction, and he was like, "Something touched you, didn't it?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "Yeah, I could tell the way that you jumped back and like you jerked your leg and like
Oh, wow.
something grabbed you." And I was like, "Absolutely, something grabbed me." And so it wasn't, I didn't even know where we were. When we got to that section where the plaque is and it tells you everything,
Yeah.
I was like, shit. My father-in-law was like they were crawling around with me, like they were crawling around and somebody grabbed me.
Yep. That's what it was.
It scared the hell out of me.
Did you ship your pants?
I did not. It was broad daylight.
But you never, a lot of times stuff will happen in the broad daylight.
Yeah, that's another thing we talked about.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah.
Because it says like they manifest when there's more energy or electricity. But now it's really, because things are 24/7 everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I think there's things that happen in the daylight too.
Oh yeah, I believe that.
It's just, I don't know. It's just,
Because of that experience, I feel like we could go to the battleground at any time of day. And
Yeah, you just have to be patient. That's the
should-
main thing.
we
You have to
should
be
take your
patient.
cat balls up there.
You could.
the other thing, and this isn't our first episode about ghosts too, is that we lived in a house that was occupied by someone that was not here physically.
That was Uncle Bert.
And we caught EVPs. I had things thrown at me.
Oh, wow.
I was hit with doors of an armoire. And this went on forever. to the point where, like, everybody, I was the only one having experiences except for my sisters who were there to help me paint. We saw a figure, right? And it was just out of the corner of your eye. Like,
Yeah.
it wasn't, like, full on, you know. But this figure, like, I felt the footsteps because the house we were on was on a foundation. And the foundation, it was like, the house wasn't great, right? So you could feel, when somebody was walking through the house, you could feel it wherever you were. And I felt footsteps walking behind me and towards the bathroom. So I turned around and I glanced and I see a figure. And I automatically just assume it's my sister because we're the only ones there. She's not the same figure.
Oh.
It was this tall man, red shirt, blue jeans that she saw. And I saw the red shirt and blue jeans, but I don't know why I thought it was her because she's tiny. She's short.
Well, is your mind trying to make sense of it?
Yes,
Yeah.
and we had an investigation done there. Like I said, we caught EVPs and everything else, and that's literally why we live here now.
Oh, wow.
I think that goes back to the analytical mind versus the creative, I guess, mindset that's more open to that.
I
mean, I don't-
100% believe in all of that. I believe in all of it. I feel like if you believe in any kind of afterlife, whether it be God or like whatever your religion is, if you believe in an afterlife, you have to believe that there is spiritual activity on this earth. You have to.
Do you?
Yeah.
But is there a difference between?
So what do you think you're just a meat suit? And
Is
when
there
you
a
go, you
difference
go with it?
between angels and spirits?
I think yes, 100%. Yeah, I believe so. I believe so.
I mean, I kind of believe, but I'm kind of like things like that. That's the skeptic in me that wants to find the answer.
Yeah.
And sometimes there's not a there's just not a definite answer. And my mind doesn't accept that in things like that. It's like I can find this answer.
The dog is sitting. So I have the camera set up on a TV tray, and the dog is like panting, laying on this TV tray, and it's like the
It's a
camera.
rock and roll show.
Yeah. So I apologize for that. But yeah. So we are over an hour.
Wow. I guess it's that
Yes,
time. Huh?
I feel like this was probably one of our better. This was an
I
amazing
think it
show.
was really cool.
Yeah. it was an
Remember,
amazing
folks,
show.
if you see a deaf leopard, don't use sign language. Just say, "Here, kitty, kitty." Just act like you got some sense and leave.
I don't even know. Like,
You laughed. You laughed. Nope. Gotcha.
you completely threw me off my game. I don't even know. Special thanks to Shannon.
Thank you for having me.
This
And
was
granddaughter
amazing.
for her information.
Yeah, granddaughter or daughter for me. I feel like this is one of our better shows. We got a lot of pretty cool information.
Yep.
So
I think we may have a reoccurring guest.
I
I think you totally need to come on a ghost hunt.
I feel like
I think
we
we're
should.
in, and I think I'm going to video it. I'm going to be like the cameraman.
I feel like we should. So you get to videotape me shitting my
Yes.
pants.
Whoop! There's the brown spot.
Screaming and running.
Yeah,
Granddaughter says she'd go.
yeah, she's in.
That's good.
And ladies and gentlemen, there's the brown.
Should have worn my brown pants. So that'll be fun. So stay tuned for that. I think we should do that before we end the Ghost series. So we'll have to
Yeah, that would be cool. We'll have to figure that out.
find something local and
We'll have to figure that out and get that.
yeah, for
That
sure.
would be cool.
It's gonna be. I think that'll be fun.
I think it'll be a blast.
That'll be fun, and I'll say some extra prayers. So nothing. I don't want any demons chilling in my house.
I'll just say, hey, I'm
Always
just the
go to
cameraman.
Brushy Mountain State Penitentiary with us.
It's what
State Penitentiary. The guy who I think it's shot Martin Luther King. What was his name?
James Earl Ray.
They had him incarcerated there for a while. Oh, it's supposed to be really like bad ghost haunted.
Okay, well as long as there's no demons.
Why don't we just go to the old Kmart building and see if anybody else is shipping their pants first?
I think too we should at some point go to the battleground and see.
I would like to do that. That would
Yeah.
be cool. We can go to the battleground.
For sure.
Kind of go about, I don't know, like,
Well, it closes at dusk.
so we'll go about an
Yeah.
hour before dusk and
Yeah.
just kind of find a spot and
Tennessee don't fuck with ghosts.
see if anything happens. So that'd be cool.
Do you remember Mammy talking about seeing the Haints walking through their yard?
Yes. Yes.
My great grandmother.
She
his
was
grandmother.
Now she
was
was
very sensitive.
She was full-blooded Indian, right?
She was Cherokee. I don't know if she
Cherokee.
was full-blooded or half-blooded.
Yeah, I think she was full.
Okay. But she would say that she could see the boys, the Confederate soldiers, walking through their yard when they lived off Amical Road.
Yeah, she would say that all the time.
That's not.
Yeah,
I forgot about it.
yeah, she would call them Haints.
Yeah,
Haints. Have you never heard that, Haints?
No.
It's another like ghost. That's what
really-
old people
But
call
she
it.
would
That's
say,
really interesting. I wonder if being sensitive to things like that is like a genetic.
I think it is.
I think
Thanks.
it is. I think it is. Because even, I don't know if you've heard, but like Nanny has said, like, she's seen people come in and sit down in the house like right before they die.
Yes, I've heard her say that
Yeah,
before.
they come in and sit and talk.
That's really interesting.
She's
We'll
had
have
a
to
lot
have
of
a
those
conversation about
And
who
my
else.
mother, when I took her to Arizona, we did a road trip through Arizona up to Vegas,
Yeah.
and we went to Tombstone. And I didn't think about that. We stayed in one of the old buildings of Tombstone, like one of the original buildings. Well, not so much original because it burned, but new as an original.
Right.
And there was only 3 rooms in the whole little hotel.
Mhm.
The first night, the other 2 rooms were full, and then it was just us in this little hotel all by ourselves.
Oh.
And Tombstone dies at night. There's like nobody in that little town. And this is like the historic Tombstone.
Okay.
So we're sound asleep. Next morning, get up. She doesn't say anything. We get to Vegas, and she finally tells me that the second night we stayed in this little hotel in Tombstone, she woke up and looked up, and there was a lady with a bonnet on, one of the full old-fashioned dresses on, with an apron tied around her waist. She said she was heavyweight, with a round face, bent over, looking at Mama with a stern look. I was like, "Why didn't you wake me up, Mama?" She's like, "I just put the blanket over my head and turned over."
That's what Angela did. That's exactly what Angela did. She saw a figure at my mother's house and she was like, nope, put the blanket over her head.
Like the blanket's gonna save you.
Yeah. Oh my god. So
That's
it's
funny.
got to be a genetic thing. That's
It does have to be.
That's
But I
insane.
forgot about Mammy saying
Yeah,
that,
I remember
'cause
that when we were
She
talking about
said
the
you would see
battlefield.
them, because like when she would talk about them, they would be like in a formation, like a battle
Mm-hmm.
formation coming through.
Yeah. Wow.
So-
That's crazy. All right. So we went off on another tangent.
Sorry.
It's
Sorry.
easy to do when something hits your mind.
Yeah, that's true. Very true.
Until
All
next
right.
time, act like you got some sense.
I have no closing. I didn't prepare anything. So bye.